Hey everyone, it's CL, and no, I did not forget to film today. I'm still hitting my streak of posting a video every day. And as far as first world problems I'm encountering today, though 2 on my list is 1. I'm a little bit tired because my daughter made me watch a 20-minute video on snakes, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh, you should encourage their learning if they have an interest. And it was a very factual video. You want to encourage them to learn. But on the downside, I had to listen and watch a 20-minute video about snakes. And then my second first world problem is that one of my dogs is pregnant, and every time I move, she gets up out of her dog bed and follows me around, and she just looks at me with the biggest googly eyes, and she's like, are you going to the kitchen? Is that why you're moving around? Are you going to the kitchen? If you're going to the kitchen, maybe you can pick me up a little snacky snack. And I'm just like, no, dog, I have been giving you snacks all day. I'm pretty sure all the puppies that you have brewing in your belly are all nicely fed. No more snacks. It's like 11 p.m. No more snacks. So those are the couple things that I'm encountering tonight. But as far as today's video, I am kind of covering what the book community is talking about. Now, if you ever get tired with Booktube, one of my favorite places to go with a very large book community is Reddit. Within the book subreddit, there is 15 million subscribers. Now, out of those 15 million, maybe a handful of thousands actually participate and comment during the day. I think when it comes to all book-related somethings, we have more lurkers than actual people that post things. So for today's video, I'm just gonna kind of go through the book subreddit and kind of talk about what other people are talking about. So let's go ahead and get into it. One of the first things that comes up on the subreddit is that a novelist who wrote a book on how to murder your husband has been charged with murdering their husband. This is the type of post when I come across it, like the first thing I wonder is like, oh, is this one of those fake posts that are supposed to come across as real, but it's not actually real? Because it seems like such a coincidence, right? But when I was clicking on the links that were provided, it looks like it's a legit thing. It even had like a video of the person who murdered their husband. She's in like a blue jumpsuit. It looks like they're in like a courthouse. If I had to say if it was real or not, it does look real. Isn't that crazy? And in the comments section, I do love Reddit because they have funny comments. Like, how can they have a funny comment when it's talking about someone that just murdered their husband, right? One person said, murder mystery writers like to draw from personal experience. And then another person said, can't wait to write my first book, easy ways to kill your spouse, and other fun stuff. One of the other posts that I see is a question. Can social media revive classics? Now, without even opening the subreddit to see what everybody else says, in my opinion, I'm gonna go with no. Classics to me is one of those things, either you love it or you hate it. I personally have a strong dislike for classics. I took a novel course in college. All we read in this course were classics, and I just wanted to rip my eyes out. In another post, apparently, a customer in Wales wins a bookshop in a raffle. Right off the bat, I'm thinking, wow, that is quite a prize. I kind of have always had a somewhat dream of owning like a bookshop. Like, I like the idea of owning a bookshop, but I don't think I like the idea of how much work that goes into. Well, but one person in the comments mentioned that bookshops are a dying industry. And what do you guys think? If you won a bookshop in a raffle, would you be over the moon excited about it? Or do you think it would be more of a burden than it's worth? And one of the things I find whenever I scroll through the books subreddit, I mean, obviously people like to mention like what book they're reading and talk about that book, but I have noticed that there are a lot of books that come up that I haven't even heard of, I haven't come across. It just goes to show I have a lot of reading to catch up. I just can't imagine ever being to that point where I can say, I've read half the books available. I think that would just be too much. But wouldn't that be a dream though, if you can read all the books in the world? That would be kind of cool. And then someone posted, at the age of 31, they will have finally read a Stephen King book. Now, I'm in the same boat. I have always wanted to read a Stephen King book, but I think I'm a little bit intimidated by how big they are and the selection of Stephen King books. Like, there's just so many out there, and I would want to read the best one as far as my interests and I have no idea what that book would be. And it's not so much that I have like a huge interest in Stephen King, to be honest, I don't, but it feels like one of those things that since he is such like a renowned author, I feel like I should at least read one book in my lifetime just to see what all the hype is about. I don't know. But anybody else out there that has yet to read a Stephen King book? Oh, this is a really good question that someone posed. Why do we forget most of the books we read? In my opinion, I just think that there's just so many books and it's really hard to keep track of every book you've ever read because all those stories start to blend together, you know? Now, I think as humans in general, unless you have like a photographic memory, we tend to forget things that aren't necessarily important. Like reading books isn't necessarily gonna keep you alive. It's not like your survival instincts or anything like that. And I think when it comes to things that are less important, when it comes to life, that your mind naturally will kind of get rid of that information with time just because we don't need to hang on to it, right? And I was reading through the comments and a lot of people kind of agreed with that. Like someone said, I can't even remember the meals I've eaten. I can't remember what I did last week. It's just one of those things you just can't remember because it just doesn't hold that much importance. Is that horrible to say? Now I kind of came across a funny question and it reads, what books have you been meaning to read, but for one reason or another, you just haven't gotten to it? And I would have to say that most booktubers would answer that question with every book on my TBR. Why are TBRs so huge? Because they're all the books we want to read, but haven't gotten to them. So last item on the list that I'll cover today, this poster puts out the question, along with the subreddit books, what other sources do you go to for book reading information and discussions? Now I'm going to open up this subreddit and see if anyone in there will list Booktube. So let's go ahead and see. And good news, Booktube is on there. Someone commented that they follow a lot of channels on YouTube within the Booktube community, and other places where people get their bookish information is other subreddit type websites. There's different subreddits on Reddit that instead of like the subreddit books, there's subreddit literature, there's subreddit fantasy. He even mentioned Book Page magazine, which I've never heard of, but apparently you can get it free at Books-A-Million. I've never been to a Books-A-Million personally, but that seems kind of cool. You get a little bookish something for free. All right, so that is my video for tonight. But if you're interested in a lot of different topics regarding books and even want to pose your own questions, definitely check out the books subreddit on Reddit. It's a very fun place to be and there's a lot going in the discussions. So thank you for watching and I will see you later.